And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcatJournal.com. As always, visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Use that app to get Galactic delivered to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron Smith.
All right, Chad Brendel.
I don't know how much juice I've got in me. It's been a long-ass day. But Temple tomorrow, big one at Fifth Third Arena, as Cincinnati is going to keep their hopes alive to jump up to that potentially 2 or 3 seed line in the American Athletic Conference tournament. They are going to have to especially defend home court. They're probably going to have to win out, but especially defend home court against a team that Wes Miller has yet to beat. They are 0-3 against the Owls in the Wes Miller era.
Who?
It is a team. Who? I see what you did there. It is a team that has given Cincinnati fits because of their length, especially on the perimeter. They've really frustrated David DeJulius. They kind of slow things down. They grind you out. They had lost 4 in a row up until the weekend, where they beat a, as we saw, very bad Tulsa team handily. There is something interesting coming out of that we're going to get to here shortly. But what are your thoughts as Cincinnati gets ready to take on a Temple team that has been a thorn in their side?
Well, looking at the box score from the last game, you had 5 players, including 4 starters and a Khalif battle off the bench, who all went for double digits. And
no, Khalif Battle didn't play against Tulsa.
Sorry, I'm looking at Cincinnati's last game against Temple.
Okay, my bad. Sorry.
Yes. So you had 4 guys in double digits in Khalif Battle coming off the bench. You were, I believe, out rebounded 46-28. And I think this team's come a long way since January 1st. I mean, it was a hangover game, if you will, as it is a New Year's Day game on I think, was it a Sunday? Was New Year's Day a Sunday, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't know what today is, Aaron.
That's completely fair. I'm checking back. Go back to January. Yeah, it was a Sunday game. It was a 3 p.m. game. All things that are weird time, day for a game. Not to make excuses, but that's, almost 2 months ago, 7 weeks ago, roughly. And I think this team has made strides since then. If you have if Vic's back, I don't imagine that he goes for 11 points and 4 rebounds again. Even if he does, you did not have much from Odie in the way of 0 points and 5 rebounds, and you had no Kalu in that game. And I just really like where this team is at now with their bigs, with or without Vic tomorrow. Of course, I like them better with Vic. Sure. But if Vic can't go, I'm not wondering if we're going to get out rebounded by 18 again.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming off of that ECU game where it was such a point of emphasis afterwards, as we saw against UCF, you would think their attention is going to be directly back on that, because they almost lost the rebounding battle by 20 against Temple last time. It was a bloodbath on the glass.
That's what I'm saying, 18.
Yeah.
And Jaleel White had 14 points, 16 rebounds himself. I think he'll be a point of emphasis as well.
I think he averaged 4 rebounds a game to that point, if I recall correctly. Like, he was not a dude that was a rebounding machine coming into when he was a guy averaging 7, 8, 9 rebounds a game. I think it was 4 or 5, and he had 16.
And you had Zach Hicks with 13 points and 8 rebounds himself. I don't know. I guess I just don't think that this game is going to go nearly the same for either team. And I feel good about where Cincinnati's at. I will admit I'm less worried about Temple than I am about Memphis. But I think you need to, we've talked about it, I think you need to finish at least 2-1 over the stretch of 3 games, if not 3-0, to really have some momentum going into the tournament. Obviously, 3-0 coupled with the last game victory would take you to 4-0 going into the tournament. And that's a lot of gas going for this team.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't always buy the momentum going into a tournament thing, because you've seen plenty of teams just get hot at just the switch flips.
Yeah,
and they have a good
UConn turned it
3 or 4
into
days.
UConn turned it into a national championship. I get it.
Yeah, but I get you'd rather be playing well than not.
Sure. Well,
I
and the
think
more
the
that
important. Go ahead.
the more that you can do as a team in Victor's stead, as he's coming back from an ankle sprain, the better that you feel about playing team ball, and the more that I think that you can build upon, and then just kind of plug and play with Vic once he's full go, as opposed to just
Sure.
relying on him and his heroics.
And I also think if he's back, then you can, start to slowly get him back to that
Right.
full speed. You get a 3-game window to ramp him up into the conference tournament. So yeah, it's a big one. The question you have is are they going to be able? Does Dave playing the way he is now change the way Temple has guarded him? Because they've always guarded him very aggressively and with length as a scorer. And while he has still been scoring, he's also been an elite facilitator. And if they play him as aggressively as they have, he might have 12, 13 assists, the way that he's seeing things and playing the game right now. So that's going to be interesting to me.
In the last game, the team had 9 assists.
Yeah.
Dave has been averaging almost that by himself.
Yeah. So that's going to be fascinating to see what Dave. You mentioned the bigs, and Landers is going to have a big game, of course.
He did last time as well. 15 points, 6 of 12 in that game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a block, a steal. I filled up almost every column that you could ask for, but yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if he went for anything less than 15 at this point, I guess.
That's pretty standard. Like it. Like
it's a standard 12, line for him, yeah.
12, and you're like, ooh, what? He just had 18 against UCF, and everybody's like, he didn't play well.
Well, and 4 rebounds seems low as well for him. Like
right.
I would expect him to be somewhere in that 6 to 8 range, I guess. So,
yeah,
if not more.
So let's get to another topic here that's interesting to me, and there's a couple different ways you can take this conversation right now in light of some stuff that has come out today. But Temple, what scares me? The Khalif Battle situation actually scares me, Aaron, because they lost 4 in a row. And in that 4th loss, Khalif Battle played 17 minutes. I believe it was Wichita State. 17 minutes, didn't score, and just kind of sulked all over the floor. Like just pouty, whiny, bad attitude.
In their last game, you mean?
Not at Tulsa, the game before
that. In the 3rd loss, not the 4th loss.
No, they beat Tulsa. So they lost 4 in a row, and then they beat Tulsa this weekend without it.
Gotcha. All right.
So they lose 4 in a row, and you have a guy that's clearly not bought in and is at odds with his coach. Some would argue that is a serious factor that contributed to that 4-game losing streak. He was left at home, told not to go to the either told not to go or didn't go. However you want to frame it, I don't know the exact answer there, but didn't play against Tulsa, and they smoked Tulsa. Now, that's not that difficult.
Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah. The thing that I wonder is, was that an addition by subtraction situation, or is it a situation where they're going to be playing Cincinnati without their best player, and they're going to be impacted by not having his presence? Because looking at what happened in that Tulsa game, I think one could argue like maybe they were better off the way things had been trending, better off without the bad attitude on the floor. And that goes to one of the reasons I think John Cunningham is so sold on Wes Miller. You don't see that in Cincinnati's locker room. You don't
Could've.
easily could have.
You certainly could have with several players.
Multiple things that have happened this season, you could have seen things go south. And every time, what has happened? Guys have answered the bell and gotten better for it. Like, adversity has allowed guys to get better, not sulk and get worse.
We haven't seen Hensley get better yet, but he's back on the floor. He sat some games out, and he's back on the floor.
Fair.
But
okay, so the 11th guy we haven't seen get better yet. The other 10,
but I mean, I'm just trying to keep things honest here. But obviously with Kalu, you could have seen that go south very quickly. You could have been in Europe the way that, as we talked about last night, you had two other players.
I'm over that joke.
I mean, but we did have two other players in 2 seasons straight go to Europe.
I don't think Rapp went back to Europe. I think he just quit.
He just was done with ball.
His family lived in Chicago. Sorola's family was all in Europe. Rapp's family was from Chicago. I think I
thought maybe he went and played ball in Europe.
He might have eventually, but he didn't that night.
Well,
he didn't the night that he left.
Either way, you've had situations where guys have quit mid-season.
Yeah.
When things were going south. This team has not in any way, shape, or form quit on coach, and I think that's a tribute to him, his staff, and the culture that he's built. Absolutely, we've talked about it at this point, borderline ad nauseum, just for what we've seen. But I understand the relevance of bringing back up again tonight in light of just some of the stories that are out there nationally.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a situation at Alabama where Alabama hired a guy that was a great coach. Everybody knew he was a great coach. Everybody also knew behind the scenes he was an ass. And guess what? Now they're dealing with it because they've got a major situation that I'm starting to wonder how NATO survives.
It's ugly.
I don't want to get into all we're still dealing with a lot of he said, she said, and there's a gun involved. One of the players owned the gun. That gun was used to kill someone, whether in self-defense or I'm not getting into all that, but there's a very real situation at Alabama, and that's another culture thing. And there's a lot of people initially that were like, hey, really wish we could have gotten Nate Oates before he went to Alabama.
Nothing good happens after midnight, right? That's what all of our parents told us.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good things happen after midnight.
I completely disagree as well.
There are things that parents probably wouldn't consider good things. I've had a lot of fun after midnight.
Also accurate. Yeah.
But yeah, culture matters, man. You can't let that, whatever it was at Temple, it clearly festered to the point that it bubbled over and is causing problems there. And that's their best player. And, did McKee kind of maybe let the rope go a little too long, let the leash get a little too long because they were right there in that driver's seat to finish second? And then by the time you realize, I gotta reel this in, I got to get this under control, you've lost 4 in a row and you're in 4th place. And now, I'm sure they were hoping, let's try to play ourselves into the NCAA tournament. Let's try to get as many wins, stack as many wins as we can down the stretch. And now they're in no different situation than Cincinnati. They're going to have to win the AAC tournament to get in.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such an important factor, especially in college sports. And even in the Bengals are one of the main reasons outside of Joe Burrow that everything has gone really well for Zach Taylor is they have an amazing culture in that locker room.
It's been astounding what he has built.
It matters. It matters, man. It matters if guys are playing for each other. And right now you got a Temple team that we'll find out tomorrow night if Khalif battles back. Do they play like crap? Are they okay? Do they look like they did against Tulsa, which was really good? Or are things messed up in that locker room?
Cincinnati is 13-3 at home this year, and this would be another feather in that cap.
Yep. All right. Hopefully I'm there tomorrow night. Try to make it. We'll see. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.